Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm pleased to be able to rise and respond for the 13th time to the throne speech. And I want to say what a gift I think this is, and how much I view my ability to represent the people of Edmonton-Centre as a great honour, but also as a great gift. It's a job that I enjoy doing, and particularly because of the constituents that I represent. Now, I am very fortunate in being able to represent the fabulous constituency of Edmonton-Centre, which in fact has the legislature building as part of it. And we have some wonderful infrastructure in this constituency, the baseball park, the downtown area, Grant MacEwan College. We've got the beginning of the LRT. Please, dear God, we get more of it. There's a number of wonderful places to visit in this constituency, the Arts District, various recreational opportunities through the River Valley Park system. But really for me, the most joyous part of it is representing the individuals that live here. And I, as always, have consulted my constituents through a variety of means to solicit their views on what they wanted me to bring forward and look for in the throne speech, but also speak about in response to the throne speech. And I've had an additional honour in that being named a deputy leader. I've heard from people outside of my constituency and from across Alberta that also wanted me to talk about some things. So, if I may, Mr. Speaker, I'm just going to back off to the 10,000 foot level and speak more generally about some of the issues that people have identified as being really key. And I have to say that jockeying for first position is the environment, and particularly water, and the economy. And in fact, I think that's appropriate because I think the two things are very much tied together in this province. That is our legacy, is trying to find that balance between where we put an emphasis on economic development versus our incredible natural environment. And I have been very amused and taken great delight in listening to the last couple of days' worth of responses to the throne speech and listening to a number of the members on the government side talking about the fabulous sustainability fund. And I recognize that most of these members are new to the Assembly, but I cannot tell you the immense satisfaction I take in knowing that, in fact, this was an idea that was developed and brought forward by the then leader of the official opposition, Dr. Ken Nichol. And at the time, the proposition that he brought forward, we brought forward as part of our official opposition position, was met with hoots and howls of derision, snorts of disdain. Oh my goodness, what a stupid idea, they all said. And here we are, years later, with the newly minted backbenchers crowing in delight of exactly that idea. Now, granted, there is a significant difference, Mr. Speaker. We called it a stability fund, and the current government calls it a sustainability fund. And I'll admit that's a significant difference. Aside from that, it's the Liberal idea, lock, stock, and barrel, and you're welcome to go and check it out in any of our documents from the time. So I take some delight in that. And the second thing that I keep hearing about as I hear my honourable members on the opposite side make their responses to the throne speech was the plan, the great plans for the future that they see inside of the throne speech. And again, another idea brought forward, pounded forward every day by members of the official opposition. Where was the plan? Exactly what was the plan? Where were the performance measurements? How did we measure this? Day after day after day after day. Oh, again, howls of derision, snorts of disdain. How dare we? Who and else? Only, I think, if I've got the quote right, only a Liberal would want to plan, was the insult that was thrown back at us. Indeed, only a Liberal would want to plan. And so I thank very much the accolades that have come our way indirectly from the members of the backbench when they talk about how impressed they are with the plan. So, the environment and the economy. You know, one of the other things I've noticed is, in some cases, a sort of petulant demand from some of my honourable members opposite that the Liberals insist on telling everybody exactly what it is that we would cut from the budget, and if we can't do that, then we should just put up or shut up, and since we can't put up, then the obvious should follow. Interesting idea, and but I would have expected a bit more support then from those very same members to our proposal that was brought forward in member services to get additional funding to help us do research. Because to be honest with you, we're a little short-staffed on that side of things, and two things that I would like to improve but am unable to do so at the time. One is that research support to help us be able to go through things like the budget documents and pick out those kinds of numbers or those particular programs that we felt should go on a list of things to be reviewed and perhaps cut or eliminated. But more than that, I'd like to get more information. I've been watching budget documents for 13 years now, and I have to say there's less information available in budget documents today than there was 10 or 12 or 15 years ago. And I went back to 92, 93, and the amount of information that was available in those budget documents is significantly more than what's available to us today. So when there's a demand and a little stamping of feet that they want to know exactly what programs we'd like to cut, I'd like to help them, but frankly, that's very difficult to do. But perhaps they'd like to work on my behalf and correct those two oversights. Yeah, we have 7 research support staff now to do 24 ministries and 5 policy field committees. So that's a heck of a lot of work. A couple of other pieces around the economy. I think it's important to point out, and I represent a lot of small business people in downtown Edmonton, and how important it is to recognize those small businesses as major drivers in our economy. We do tend to look at those monolithic structures, those huge organizations, but really still in Alberta and across Canada, it's small and medium-sized businesses that really provide most of the jobs for people. And anything, and I urge the government to go back and look and try, because they had a red tape commission, and once again, we never heard what came out of it. And I never saw what was being reduced or done. Well, yeah, supposedly that was a plan, but it's a plan that doesn't exist if you don't share it with the rest of the people. So I'm wondering again what is being done and what is in this throne speech for my small business people and small business people across the province. And when I look at that, we are at a really interesting point in Alberta here. We have an economic entity in the oil sands. Various deals have been struck over the years to have an exchange of money that comes back to Albertans to compensate them for the use and the access to their assets. But also, I think increasingly people feel that there needs to be much stronger environmental protection. And it's a challenge to us because I remember a friend once talking about the war on carbon and the fact that it's not so much that our oil and gas reserves will run out. They will. They just get more expensive to produce and get out of the ground. But it's not so much that. It's that war on carbon is about other people saying they don't want it anymore. And we may move faster than we expected to a point where that oil and gas, non-renewable natural resource, may not be as much of a significant force in our budget as it is today.